Going live.
Hello, everyone. Oh, hang on, let me adjust this. And this happens every time. There we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome back.
Hi, everybody.
I'm, I'm live streaming, so they want you to wear a mask.
You gotta get 6 feet that way. We have to social distance in our own home.
Oh, it's hard to breathe. I can't breathe in this thing.
Hey, Chipper.
Okay. How's everyone doing? Hopefully you guys are doing all right.
Hey, JC.
Got some, I guess, just bizarre things to talk about tonight. It's one of those,
Aid.
it's one of those, it's one of those kind of you got so much going on in the world, and you, I walk around throughout the day, and I'll just start ranting on the stuff that's going on, and I tell the wife all the time, it's like, I never have like a camera when I'm just walking around the house just ranting and going off on everything. Hey, you guys. Hello. We got to get a bigger screen.
Yeah, we need to do a projector.
Yeah, one of those projector screens. Get some water. I always get ready all night, like, to do this, and then put down some topics and stuff, and then I'll start last minute. And it's like, whoa, wait, what time is it? We gotta go. All right. Go. Okay. Have you guys ever? Any of you guys ever put together a traditions? It's a. Hopefully you guys can see that. Traditions. One of the black powder muzzle loaders. You guys ever put one of those together? I've been wanting to do a project like that. I want you to put one together, do some crazy artwork on it, and maybe do like some just random flintlocks and stuff. I thought it was kind of interesting to do that. I always get these magazines in the mail. It's got just nothing but crazy, bizarre stuff in it.
Does it have medication to get rid of worms?
You know what's funny?
Any dewormers in there?
Sometimes it does have antibiotics and stuff, like fish antibiotics and stuff. It's like all the stacks of different Bud K's, because you'll get, like, this is the knife one they send you out for discount knives. But these kids are going, hey kids.
Hey, John.
You tell them kids to calm down.
Where's my water gun?
Someone said it wouldn't be one of my videos if it didn't have kids screaming in the background. Okay, tonight, bum bum bum, dun 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 dun. Got some stuff here. Got some footnotes and stuff, things I wrote down. And while the wife's dealing with the kids real quick, I'm gonna go ahead and pull this one out and go ahead and start going through it. Let's see. Here's a good one here. I've had a lot of folks talk about mag groups, mutual assistance groups, and having them close by, and some can't leave. This isn't part of the main topic tonight. I just wanted to put this little footnote that I had from earlier in the week out to you guys. It's just something, food for thought, and you can share with your friends. It's a lot of folks that have groups, and the folks that are starting to discover what it's like having those groups, the aftermath of having the groups, and stuff is starting to come out into the woodwork. For a lot of folks out there, they're having a lot of difficulties with these things, and I just want to address this because it is something that kind of needs to be said as far as groups go. All right, I'm gonna start this off. As with all new relationships, I'm gonna read from this.
Hey, Daniel.
Or even new employment, for that matter. About a month on, they start to notice the quirks. Okay, and if you're Mr. and Mrs. Prepper, and you're trying to justify and ignore the problems as growing pains,
No.
hoping that everything will work itself out over time, and trust in time, and it rarely comes. Things don't get better in stressful situations; they get worse. So you aren't able to find serenity in everyday pre-collapse life with your group. If you're not able to find that, then you won't be better when everyone is in a psychological abyss or of like the systematic collapse, right? So overall, in the end, when it starts to happen, you're not gonna. If you don't have it then, you're definitely not gonna have it now. Okay, and you get about 3 days of the kumbaya before around the campfire before uh,
The
everyone
honeymoon is over.
before unstable people begin to unravel and fall apart. Uh, that is usually what happens. And the other thing, it's it's like relationships, right? It's like when you're in a mutual assistance group or a mag, it's kind of like a marriage, and you have to treat it as if it's a relationship. It's not you. They're not blood, but they have to become family somehow. Okay, and uh, you have to look past some things, and but you have to treat it like a relationship, and you have to get along with these individuals because when the relationship ends, when things go sour, when things go south, they're going to end up just like a marriage. They're going to take everything. Okay, it's going to happen like that if it's a situation where the none of you see eye to eye, or you grit your teeth a lot around them over things that get on your nerves. You're going to end up in a situation where they out you, kick you out, or something along those lines. And uh, what else was I saying? I was saying it earlier. Money and prepping was the other thing that I was not. Here's the thing. Prepper groups also, someone was saying to me about the perks of individuals that have stuff. Okay, someone would say that there's an individual has guns, he has gear, he had the money all this time, so he bought he's got military trucks or whatever. He's got all this stuff, but he has absolutely no skills whatsoever. All he has is he brings to the table, and he an individual like that may join the group and just soak up look at all the things that I've done for you so far. I brought you all this stuff. But stuff fades, okay? Stuff fades, things fade. And what you're left with is all the knowledge that you have and you've accumulated over time. And some of this stuff will work for a while, but just bringing stuff and no skills, you're not really bringing anything to the table. And I know we've talked about it before that in groups, it's what you bring to the table. Okay, it's like do you know? Because it's like the security thing, right? Every single swinging Richard out there who does a topic on mag groups, every single person, I don't care who they are, every single person brings up the point of, well, anyone can work security, but some people probably can't. Okay, and but on the uh, on the level, the balancing out, most average person can work some kind of security. I mean, even grandma can work some security, right? Some sort of security, right? Watch over the kids and things like that. We've always said stuff like that.
Goats.
Yeah, you've got other things to tend to, and that falls into security. And most folks, like I've said before, with money and stuff, and they bring a bunch of stuff to the table. Well, I brought you all this stuff, okay? And then they sit back, relax, kick their feet up, and I brought you all this stuff, and then You end up with, Bob, Jim, Frank, myself, and everybody else, and we're out taking care of all the other chores that have to be done, and we come back in and what's the other guy's name going to be?
Jim.
Jim. No, Jim was helping me in the garden. What was the other fella's name? We're going to come up with a name for him.
You already
Jack.
say,
We'll do Jack. Jack. Money Jack. We'll call him Money Jack.
How about Chipper?
No, not Chipper. Chipper's he already said today. I was saying something about it today, and he says, "Why are you looking at me when you say that?" All right, so just pretend, okay, there's a fella still in the house, and he ain't going out to help. He ain't going out and doing security and stuff. He's not digging nothing because
yeah, Chipper.
He's already donated all the stuff out there. Y'all have at it. I brought y'all all that stuff, so you guys have fun with that. That's not how a great relationship works. You still have to do chores. You still have to work. Yeah. And skill sets are very beneficial for you staying in your character. Ricky, for staying in your character, okay? You've got to provide some skill. You have to provide something. If you don't have a skill that you can think of right off the top of your head, you have to sit down and do some soul searching on your own. You have to figure out, well, what am I really good at? Mm-hmm. Because I don't know each and every single person in person, and I've never worked with, that many people that on here that I can say, well, a good example like Wes S. I'm not going to put him on the hot seat or nothing for skills and stuff. Wes S. has a variety of skills, okay? He has a variety of skills and a wealth of knowledge that you can trust, okay? Now, with that being said, an individual that has a wealth of knowledge you can trust, and someone that can vouch for that, someone that can say, well, I know that fella, and I know he can take care of himself, okay? And it's like a lot of other folks that I've worked with that I can say, well, you're in good hands with that fella. He's a good guy. I think he's got his act together. I think he's got that. And he might not know everything, but he can help you along the way, right? And in some situations, you're going to have to figure out stuff together as a team, as a group, okay? And it's like, if you think about it, it's like, well, what was your skill sets before? And a lot of us know that, you could have been a refrigerator magnet repair guy, okay? And you could have just repaired refrigerator magnets all day long, right? That was your job. That was what you did. But you have the title of refrigerator magnet repair guy, and you go and join your group, and they need a refrigerator magnet repair guy for some reason, right? I'm just making that up. It's just coming up with something funny just to be kind of tactical. But Jim shows up, and he says he's got certificates in being a refrigerator magnet repair guy, but he ain't so great at it. And you discover that he really ain't that great at it. That's going to be possible too. Things like that are going to happen, but they can still do it. They're just not, super at it. Okay. So you got to take that into account, and you're going to end up in these perks where you get irritated because
someone doesn't flush the toilet.
Yeah, well,
after they
puts the sink down or whatever. Yes.
Or wash the dishes.
Or what? Girl,
I'm not naming names.
You want to go? In front of everybody, I'm kung fu chop you. I got that kung fu grip.
I got a skillet.
You got a skillet.
You ain't gonna kung fu
Girl,
through the skillet.
Ain't got no skillet. You got a book?
Skillet's under the bench.
You're gonna have to go way over there and get a skillet.
You better just watch yourself.
Do you agree with what I'm saying there, Sippy? Mm-hmm. Anything you want to add to that little tidbit?
Well, I mean, everybody's going to be under stress and strain, and anxieties are going to be up at that point, and it's good to have that one person in the group that always keeps a cool head on their shoulders to diffuse.
I always hate it when they put it on backwards.
What are you talking about?
You never put the toilet paper on right. It's supposed to go over the top.
Why do you ask me to make a comment if you're just going to talk over me and change
No, someone said they needed a toilet paper changer.
Mickey.
Right? So there's always some screw up with the toilet paper. It's always on backwards.
I do it on purpose. I'll admit.
I think you do. She does. She said something to me one day that she did it on purpose just to mess with me.
I know it.
Oh,
it's
man.
Like one of your pet
I go in there and I have to flip it back around. It drives me nuts. Well, okay, but like I said, skills. Okay, and I don't even, because everybody does the skill thing, and we always talk about skills and stuff like that. And it's just one of those things that, you know, having something that you can bring to the table is always more important than just bringing a bunch of stuff. It's like, man, I got a whole truck full of guns. Like, okay, well, that'll help, but you're gonna have to man one of them. You know what I mean? It's gonna have to work out like that. It's just the way it is. And but there's that. I wanted to point that out because I know, you know, I know a lot of folks have mentioned it recently and in conversations with me about mags and folks getting together and things like that, and um, how they're too far apart. Okay, I've had a lot of folks tell me, well, they're too far apart, and um, if and I wanted to take that into something else, and the far apart thing, and how in the beginning, let's do this mask thing, and let's talk about some martial law kind of stuff, and just some it's kind of a more than the feeling kind of thing. Is where I got into this, and I was babbling, and I told the wife, I said, I need a camera on me when I start just rambling on about some crazy stuff, because it starts to kind of make sense. And I didn't get this from any literature other than just some stories of some stories from World War II. And from those stories that I gathered up, what if the here we go, what if the transformation of that feeds into the future? Okay, the transformation of everything that was done then is put into, just basically take maybe some 1984 style topics and slide them in with some World War II style topics, and then slide them into 2020. Okay, because there's different platforms for this. Now there's technology, so you have all this technology, and
Thank you, Wayne.
and the way things are formatted is totally different compared to you know, propaganda of old. And what I'm trying to say here is, like, in the beginning, if you look back on, like, America, you have your freedoms. You can decide for yourself.
Oh, thank you.
Harrisman Hills, thank you.
Isn't that Harshman Hills?
I was Harshman Hills.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
She's gonna say, you pronounced that wrong. Here, have a light. You all forget. All right, you all forgot. All right. Men in Black, right? That's why I'm carrying this around. I was like, you remember nothing. I did this at the store the other day. Someone said, I went in without a mask, and the lady's looking at me all crazy. I was like, you saw nothing. She's like, that's a good one. Anyway, so back to this real quick. Thank you. If you look at it like this, you had choices. You live in America. You have choices. You can decide for yourself. You don't need someone to strap diapers on you and treat you like a baby. You don't need to be treated like a child. You can figure stuff out for yourself. You're a grown person. You probably have kids, and those kids, you help make choices for them. Okay? We all can probably agree on that, right? I hope most of you can agree with that part, at least. Now, in the beginning of all this, over history, folks have wore masks before in history, okay? And if you look at now, folks that decide, all this is going on, I think I'll put a mask on, okay? I'm just going to do it, and, no big deal, that kind of thing, right? That wasn't good enough. That was not good enough, because I think here goes into conspiracies of the agenda world. You got your all your different agendas out there. There's a variety of them. I think there's like 3 on the books that are crazy. All right, so if you've got an agenda to meet, it's not getting done fast enough off of patriotism and just being a good sport and playing ball and all that stuff, okay? You know, it didn't work out so good, so folks have pumped the numbers. They pumped the numbers, you know. I remember back when everything was blowing up and like big fireball in the sky of Joshua, thank you.
Oh, thank you, Joshua.
Boom.
Whoa, thank you very much.
So loud. Thank you. Boom. But if you think about it, that in the beginning of all this and everything was blowing up all over the place and going crazy and things were shutting down and closing and all that, we had probably one case in like 4 counties over or something. Okay. We had like one case, and that was during that time. But the numbers weren't getting pumped up enough. Okay. The numbers weren't getting pumped up enough. It wasn't getting psyched up enough, and it wasn't spreading fear fast enough. So we had to pump the numbers up. Pump the numbers, spread the fear, freak everybody out. Okay. Now you got all that going on. And the people who normally would have just volunteered and just did it and just wore a mask and went about their day no longer want to wear masks anymore because they're starting to see that what this is really all about. Now it's forced. Now it's mandatory. Now there's a mandate. You must do it or you'll pay a $400 fine. Now it's starting to spread around that you will pay for not wearing a mask. And you're going to wear the mask we tell you to wear. You can't just wear this mask anymore. You've got to wear this one. You can't wear neck gaiters because it's worse than whatever. You can't wear a bandana because it does absolutely nothing. And you can't wear the ventilator mask anymore with the little holes of the vents. You can't wear any of those. The ones in the front with the ventilator, no, it doesn't work. So they're coming out now and saying none of this stuff works. CDC's coming out and saying that people will be immune for about 3 months after they get over it. So they're going to get sick again and everybody's just going to die again. Countries, what was the country you said that didn't?
I think it was Switzerland, how everybody criticized them at first because they didn't really quarantine and they didn't make anything mandate. And yeah, of course, in the beginning they had the highest volume, but you know, China always will have the highest volume because they had a lot of their death tolls. But anyways, but they have a herd immunity because now guess what? Second wave coming. You don't hear anything about them, and they're doing pretty good.
I gotta let the cat out.
So.
Cat's going cray cray.
It's just.
She's gonna pounce you in a minute.
It's not the cat. It's the cat.
That cat's gonna get you. But people would have volunteered and just went about this, but now it's coming to where it's really not even about that, and people are getting sick from wearing masks.
Oh yeah.
They're catching weird fungus, whatever, different types of pneumonias from wearing it for too long, days on end. Yeah, someone's going to say, well, you know, surgeons wear a mask, you know, day in, day out, all day long. They don't wear it all day. They have to take it off every now and then. It's only during surgeries and when they're patient-to-patient contact. People get the wrong idea about this stuff. It's like, well, you know, you watch too many movies, dog, because that's not how it is in person, okay? There's too many people out there. Thank you, M1A1. Boom! Thank you. But that thing just keeps ringing. But the reality of it is like, you know, I think too many folks watch movies when it comes to stuff like that, and that's really not how it goes down. And but here's the thing. When you start mandating and telling people what they can wear, what they can't wear, how they need to do it, and all that stuff, and they're strapping diapers on you and treating you like a child and hanging 15 million signs in their store saying you must wear a mask everywhere you go and every single turn, it's like hanging propaganda everywhere. It's like let certain people decide for themselves. If they choose to be whatever, then they are whatever. And that's just the way it should be. They've chosen to go the route that they're going. And if someone else chooses to keep something strapped to their face all day long, then they can keep something strapped to their face all day long. It should be a choice, a decision to make, because this is America and you should have choices. Just like everything else. Everyone has a choice. Everyone has their own political campaign, their own everything. They choose this, they choose that, they choose whatever, right? You choose to eat what you want to eat, and that kind of thing. Okay. It's like someone telling you can only eat cheeseburgers and that's it. The whole country has to eat cheeseburgers and that's it. I'm pretty sure there's somebody out there that doesn't want to eat cheeseburgers every day. But when they start using something like, now I'll get to this because I know somebody's probably going to think it or want to say it. When it comes to something medical, okay? When it comes to something that they would use a pandemic, they would use something like a coronavirus or COVID-19 kind of thing to use it to pump other things. Due to this, we have to do this. Due to this, we have to do that. Okay? And if you start due to that, we have to do all this stuff. Well, then you start to lose your freedoms. Due to COVID-19, you can't do this anymore. You can't.
You can't go to church.
You can't go to church in big groups. Can't go to school.
But you can protest and murder and loot and burn.
But I'm getting back to that. Also goes into propaganda machine. Mm-hmm. That goes back to what I was saying earlier about the propaganda machine. You could use this pandemic to control and manipulate everything, right. And that would gradually start to dwindle off the Second Amendment rights. It would start to dwindle off your freedom of speech. It would start to dwindle off your freedom of religion. It'll start to dwindle off every single little thing. And this all goes into a type of big reset. Okay? It's like a gigantic, this is
the Great Reset.
There's two different stories to the Great Reset, mm-hmm. and just my form of a big reset button. Okay, I'm not going to get into. I don't want to go into other folks' terminology of the Great Reset. Okay, I just want to say, just imagine gigantic reset button, and this is how you need to do it. But you've got to take all these steps before you can hit the big button on it, and you have to destroy families. You have to destroy the households.
Yeah.
You have to destroy the relationship between parents and their kids. You have to do all that stuff. In order to do that, you have to have riots. You have to have some form of, because of this, and this color of skin, blah, 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 all these different things that they can come up with. It's the cops, it's this, it's that. Those are all things to come up with some sort of propaganda. Just like the Nazis taking the kids. Instead of taking the kids, they take and warp the kids' minds. They warp the kids' minds and then give the kids back to the parents. The kids have been turned against their parents now because they hate them because of this. They hate them because of that. Mm-hmm. And it's because they've been fed some crazy nonsense from a pamphlet, a booklet from school that's been taught to them to
hate a certain type of people.
Hate a certain type of people. Hate a certain type of group. Hate the cops. Hate this. Hate that. Mm-hmm. And then all these reasons why they're not supposed to like it.
Yep.
Then bring them back home to their parents. They're transformed little monsters now. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing you can do about it now. It's already been fed to them.
Yep.
Like a giant machine just feeding it to them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then that's what they did for 8 hours that day. They did that for 8 hours. They learned about, hating America and destroying America. It could be a possibility because it's already starting to happen in other states.
South Carolina.
They already mentioned doing something like that. Well, because one place was talking about doing away with doing away with history.
Well, yeah, that was, I think, like Illinois or Michigan, something like that. No history, just civil liberties. And then South Carolina said we're incorporating the BLM lessons in school.
And here's one.
They have no right to be in school talking about that.
You were the one telling me about the thing in Kentucky with the...
Louisville.
How things... Now, think about that for a minute, because those are all things that have to take place all at the same time in order to shift gears into some other reality that we, destroy. That's how you break everything down. It all goes into a reset, okay? It's how you break it all down. You just destroy it all down. Bring morale down. Bring morale and all that stuff down, right? You have to tear it all down, and you feed it something else and replace it with something, right? And uh, someone said, like, this was another thing. Another good example is, if they won't do this, then we're going to mandate it. If they won't do it after we mandate it, we're going to start fining people. And I was looking at like the story about California and the rolling blackouts that they haven't had since 2001. We used to live in California, and blackouts in California are kind of creepy, uh, because, especially at night. And there's a lot of illegals, and I'm not, I just want you to know that there are some like MS-13 gangs and all kinds of crazy stuff that happens in the middle of the night. And a bunch of creepy critters come out at night. I'm telling you, the freaks come out at night out there in California. And you just don't know what's going to happen. And with their gun laws and system in place out there, you're pretty much with your hands tied behind your back, thrown in a dark room, and waiting for someone to come slit your throat. That's pretty much what it feels like to live in California. And they've pretty much tied everyone's hands out there as far as defending themselves. It's pretty sad. And a lot of other places are going to follow suit, because what happens? It trickles downhill. Crap rolls downhill, and it's going to come from California. It's going to roll this way. The way they're treating folks out there, it's going to swing everywhere else. It's going to do the same thing. Gun shops were dwindling away out there. Folks that you couldn't. I mean, it was sad. Magazines were getting smaller and smaller, and guns were getting stupider and stupider. You had to have a pin that released a pin that pulled a pin that did a yank and did a twist, and then you had to have a combo, and then you could finally pull your trigger. Remember all those?
Oh yeah.
It was just getting worse and worse and worse. Like, you couldn't even have like something that made it easier to hit the safety to the safety to the safety, because that gave you an advantage.
Yeah.
It's like you had like 4, 5, 6 different safety mechanisms to switch and flip and twist and twist a knob and crank a lever. And now they've done fixed it where it's like the magazines have to be fixed into the weapon. Like, you can't even take them out. It's 10 rounds, and you can't even take it out. You have to break the rifle down shotgun style, start stuffing them in through the top like an old thumb gun, and swing it back up and block your bolt back in. But you gotta have special pin release stuff. They make it so difficult. Like, if you were actually in a situation where you had to use a firearm, you're better off using a stick out there, because they've done immobilized most of the weapons out in California so bad that you can't even use them to defend yourself, really. It's gotten that bad. And then that's the reason why they're going after all the ghost guns. They don't want the ghost guns because they know they actually work. it's like, and then they make it sound so terrifying. You can build a firearm as long as you're not a felon. You can build a firearm. There's so many rules that people don't know about making stuff yourself. Is that legal? Yes, it is. But so many folks wouldn't know the difference because they're fed all this nonsense from the media, and they think that they can't do any of this stuff, and in fear that they're going to go to prison for the rest of their life or something. But that's the way they've treated everybody out there, and it's kind of what it is. But now they're rolling into rolling blackouts. There's no school. There's no nothing. I mean, it's just, it's going to look like, and you're going to have like, instead, it's going to be the next movie that comes out from California is going to be Escape from California. I'm telling you, it's going to be something crazy. I don't know who the actor is going to be that wears the patch over his eye, but it's going to have to be somebody. It's going to be Escape from California. It's going to be a nightmare, I'm telling you. But that sort of thing going on there, it's kind of, you don't think it can't happen in your county. You don't think it can't happen in your state. You don't think it can't happen. If they decide that government organizations can't just step in, if we're just talking about just states and counties, if they decide they're a Democratic or whatever, they choose whatever they want. Okay, so whatever propaganda reason for locking down your location, okay, if they choose your county, okay, your county decides, you know what, get the boys together, we're locking it down, no one in, no one out, okay, get the trucks, block the roads, run perimeters, we're going to do this, right? Patrols, east side, west, you know what I mean? Like, they can do all this stuff. Let's get the entry points controlled here. they can do that and shut it all down. They can shut down the cell towers. They can shut no calls in and out. They can shut down the internet, shut down all of it, and basically just chop, cut off all access to everything if they wanted to. Okay. And if they decide because of whatever reason they're going to do it to get control of everyone because of someone's agenda or the way someone feels, even at the smallest level of a county can do that if they wanted to. I mean, it would be one heck of a show for a while, but it's a possibility. And that goes into states. If a state decides they want to call up their National Guard and do it to it, they can do it to it if they want to. You got to think about this stuff, because some places are starting to transform into that. And pretty soon it's going to end up like, well, all of our taxpayers are leaving. What are we going to do? They're not going to pay tax anymore. We need the bodies. They have to be here, right? They have to have the numbers, some reason that they have to keep everybody. And you could show up at that border and the border's closed. You could show up there in the county line of so-and-so and so-and-so, cross between whatever. And you could show up there, and, Jim's leaning up against his 1960 Ford truck, and he's got his 30-06, and he's, boy, you need to get back in your car and turn the other way and leave. You understand me? And you're going to be, what the hell? Jim, we've been friends for years. What are you doing? And he's, well, the mayor's got another plan for this place. Well, we need to see what's happening to those people in there. We need to know if they're being fed. Don't you worry about what's happening to them people in there. We got this under control. You know what I mean? So, that kind of crazy stuff could happen. Okay? Escape to Arizona. But yeah, that kind of crazy stuff could happen. And people think that it won't happen, but it's a possibility. And everything has a possibility for that. And I was basing that off of what you were telling me about Kentucky and the church and the license plate and wanting to find everyone that was at church and track them down and arrest them and prosecute them.
Louisville, Kentucky was telling these people who've seen everybody's going to church, right? Oh, how dare you?
How dare you?
So he threatened the community, saying, I will send out these agents to take down your license plates in your parking lots, and then I'm going to send cops and give you fines or throw you in jail. And the people rose up, which is a good example, everybody. Things are going, really craptastic in your town. You got to stand up. And they took it to the courts, and the judge said to the mayor, you can't do that. You're infringing upon their liberties of religion.
Yeah.
He's like, no, I'm not going to allow that. So that was nice. It's like, yes, you can't just be like moping Myrtle, like, oh, well, it sucks. Here's another day. I can't go to church and do. No, you got to stand up and be like,
Did you just go Harry Potter?
Yes.
Here. You don't remember. Mopey Myrtle. Okay.
But anyways.
You got your class? You want to do a little class on some worms?
Sure.
You want me to keep talking?
We can take a break and talk about worms.
Well, I've already been talking for about 40 minutes. I figured it's your turn to talk about some. Which one do you want to talk about first? You want to talk about?
Well, there was worms, and then I didn't realize people were still kind of interested. A few people asked me my take on the hydrochloroquine for a treatment for the coronavirus.
I think people would be more interested to know what you have stuff on that.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be cool to know. Like,
I can do that one first.
Just kind of like a what's it all about kind of thing.
Yeah, because the thing I remember about that was I remember telling one person, like, well, the side effects are pretty severe, so you better be deathly sick to take this. I just wouldn't take it because I had a fever and a cough.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I better get back to my pharmacology book and brush up on the side effects and whatnot. But
I'll watch this and see if there's any
type of like chloroquine or hydrochloroquine. Basically, it's used to antiviral, treat malaria. That whole hype of it works and it helps treat COVID, but they haven't done enough testing, and it's even on, I think, like the CDC website. Of course, they don't know for sure, but it's worked on some people apparently.
This is factual information from books.
But there's stuff you have to take in consideration here. If it's a child, don't give it. It's highly toxic to kids, and it can have a high probability of killing them. So unless they're already on death's bed, don't give it to them. But we don't really have to worry about that because kids, they're very, very, very low percentages of kids getting sick. And I hate it when I bring stuff up like that to people, especially at work, and they're like, well, did you know that actually this one kid did get sick? And I'm like, it's not even a percent. Kids don't even make up a percent. Like, they'll argue till they're blue in the face and you just want to smack them with a stick. But anyways, so it's not good for pregnancy women. It's category C, and they rate it from A being safe down to, I think it's like A, B, C, D, and X. So C's, it's I don't know. Like I said, you probably have to be on death's bed.
Yeah.
So the major side effects that can last.
Someone said they're glad they got out of nursing.
That these side effects will still last even though you stop continuing this drug is severe anxiety, hallucinations, paranoia, suicidal thoughts, depression, disorientation.
That sounds horrible, already.
Yes. So that's something horrible. You have to be careful.
Brian, thank you.
Careful with. Thank you, Brian.
Ba-bam! So loud.
Thank you very much. We appreciate you.
So loud. Thank you.
And then the other side effects to it, we'll start off with the minor ones. Loss of appetite, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, abdominal cramps, fatigue, itchy skin, headache, nervousness, visual impairment, insomnia, photosensitivity, and hair discoloration. A major thing that the pharmacology book touches on
horrible.
Is it can cause kidney failure. Now, your kidneys can recover, but during that time you're taking it, it can cause damage to those kidneys, which isn't good. And then moving on to the major, like the adverse reactions, basically changes in your heart rhythm, low blood pressure, psychosis.
So it causes hangovers.
Seizures, may cause dizziness. Of course, use caution while driving and whatever. Avoid sun exposure. Life-threatening as it lowers your immune system, can cause anemia, can cause you to lose your vision. Can cause you to lose your hearing, and cardiovascular collapse. So your heart gives out.
And so what drug is this again? I just want people to be clear that while they're watching that's freaking out.
That's the chloroquine, hydrochloroquine, quins of treating malaria.
So if anyone's just now joining us, I want you to know
what they say about treating coronavirus.
What she's reading. She's reading straight from the book.
Yeah.
But that's
the queen families, basically.
Bleh.
So
that does not sound like any fun whatsoever.
I would not take that unless I was on a ventilator dying or something.
Well, heck, they've already said that freaking COVID-19 causes like a mountain of stuff, and I was just sort of laughing at that. Someone made this really funny picture.
Just like the wife's cooking.
Yeah. Someone made this really funny, like it causes high blood pressure, causes high gas mileage, causes high insurance rates. It's cracking me up, man.
Yeah. So of course, if you're an alcoholic and stuff, you definitely can't take that because you
die.
It breaks down in the liver and it will cause liver failure. So
I'd kill you in a heartbeat.
But yeah, it's just.
That's for the folks that asked.
That's for
I asked her if she could fill in and talk about that, and
I've been meaning to talk about it. I just kept forgetting about it.
The other thing that I had was that spice thing, and you've got something else to talk about, don't you? We'll break it up. You want me?
Sure.
I'll do that.
Bounce the ball back to you, BA.
Someone was asking. I put it back here behind me so I could show you guys. Okay, so I've had 4 or 5 people ask me about this thing, and like just today, I think, just today alone. But hey, what are you kids doing? I get reply.
I'm gonna cancel Christmas.
Christmas is canceled. Santa says he's not coming. But folks were asking me about this, and I figured I would just share. For the folks that want one made by me, I'm not doing this as like a promotional thing. I don't make much money doing stuff like this, and it's because there's so many components that go into it, like the brackets and everything, from the rivets to the size of the leather to the spices alone. Let me show you the spices real quick. All these things start to add up. Like, to get a replica of this, I think it would probably like, for me to make it myself, no one's going to complain about that, right? But if I told somebody that the cost of these little parts, how much, come on now, the cost of these little parts and how much they all add up, someone would get very disappointed and say, well, you're going to cheat me or something. But I want to write down, hey, would you get that out of here? I want to write, girl, I'm telling you right now, get that out of here. But yeah, I wanted to share with you guys this little bit of information, because I don't want anyone to think, because I don't have a price of it. And the reason why I don't have a price of it is because I have to write down every detailed thing, because I have to make a detailed list, because I wouldn't want to cheat anyone. And that's the reason why. But the spice rack itself, all the little vials, each one of these has a different number of spices, okay? And they're for medical purposes, and they're also for spicing up food and all kinds of uses, okay? And with that being said, this stuff, if you go to a grocery store and you go into the spice rack aisle, get the price tag off of, just take a look and see how much it actually costs, because that's the determining factor of, you know, how cheap I can do stuff like this. It's like, I would have to charge like $20 labor or something, and the rest would be just the parts and components, because that's how horrible it would be for me. But for friends and folks that watch the channel all the time, I don't mind making one. But the bottles themselves, arts and crafts store, and I think you get them in like packs of 10. And for the folks that are out there that want these, but if I used a thinner leather, not this super thick stuff, as you can see, that's pretty thick.
Hey.
What?
Sorry.
What?
You did that. Hey. Like Spider-Verse.
Yeah, Spider-Verse.
That's funny.
I love that movie.
Yeah.
But if you did in thinner leather and with less bells and whistles, like, you know, fancy little medallions and stuff, you know, that kind of thing, then, and just the latches and stuff, and you come up with your own kind of thing, then it gets a lot cheaper to make. That's the problem with stuff like this, is it gets kind of expensive because of the spices. It's really not so much the leather part of it, and it's not the labor, honestly, because the labor's not that hard for me. So, you know, it'd be like $20, but the rest of it is like, it's the price of the stuff, like the little doodads that add up that make it so expensive, and the spices themselves.
Yeah, that's what we're
Just
saying. Like
I said,
just fill the spices up yourself.
If you go to the grocery store, excuse me, next time you go to the grocery store, just swing down the aisle that has all the spices and check those prices.
Yeah.
Then you'll know then, and the reason why, like, because I have to dig in my own spices to make something like this. That's the reason why I just made something for myself. I didn't really advertise that would be something I would make, because knife sheaths and stuff are kind of normal. But for onesies and twosies of folks that need one of those made for their bug out bags, I don't mind making one. We just have to work out how much all those little items cost.
Well, we're glad you can be here, Dick.
It's your turn.
Is it?
Do you want to do worms?
Yeah, let's do worms. I haven't talked about worms.
Worm of the month?
And we actually watched that episode on X-Files about that fluke worm turning into like a giant, like, tapeworm dude.
Oh, the tapeworm dude from X-Files.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Yeah, on there's an X-Files episode of the tapeworm dude. He, like, he lives in sewers and stuff, and it was a mysterious bite mark on folks, and then they would end up spitting up worms and blood and dying and passing out. And I'm like, ooh, I said, there's your worm dude right there. Check it out, babe. It's the worm dude.
Yeah, I was like, man, I should make that a podcast.
So what do you got this time? What kind of worm you got?
It's called the tacky.
Worms are so nasty.
Zoids. Tachyzoids.
The
Tachyzoids.
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 You're not right.
No. It's just
Tachyzoids.
one of those wonderful worms that when they infect mice initially, and it's weird, it causes something in their brain or their fight or flight senses to be disabled, so they'll just walk up to a cat and be like, hey, how you doing?
I thought it was funny. Boo was over there trying to do it. She's watching the show. She's like, how did he say that? And I said, girl, it's going to take a lot of practice to get that down. Hey.
Yeah.
It's not hey, it's hey.
So it takes their total fear out of mice. It's weird. And then of course the cat eats the rat. The cat eats the rat. Oh, how dare you? The cat gets worms. So the cat has worms. And in this phase,
Drew wished that our cat was a flurkin. She says, it's like, Daddy, I want a flurkin. Like, no.
no.
No, we don't need a flurkin.
You'd lose an eye, kid.
You'd lose an eye.
So now that the cat's got worms and it gets like the eggs into the poop. So the cat poops everywhere, and say one of the cows out here in the country eats grass that has a little bit of specks of cat poop on it. Well, now that cow has worms in it, and it basically gets its I guess growth phase in the tissues. So if you like to eat that raw meat or that burger, you got worms.
I think they're 3-inch bottles for that question. I
Oh,
was waiting for that gap there so I could say that.
just raise your hand and I'll
Let's raise my hand. I think they're 3-inch bottles. I'm not
take
sure.
it away, baby.
3 or 2, but it doesn't really matter the length of the bottles because you can use the longer ones and they still work the same. They're just going to be a bit longer because the other kit that I've got's got really long bottles in it. Anyway.
And that's also that type of worm that people always tell those pregnant women to watch out, don't clean the cat box, because it'll attack the fetus and cause the baby to be stillborn or have severe brain issues to where it won't be able to survive.
And that's the main reason why you're not supposed to mess with litter boxes when you're pregnant.
Yeah. So either make it an outside cat or make a old hubby here.
Well, I was cleaning the cat box when we lived at the old place. You know, now that we're out here, we've got a cat she's a country cat and she likes to stay outside all night, so we don't have to mess with her.
Or wear gloves. I just emptied the whole cat box.
Yeah.
I don't care. But anyways, that was that little bugger. But at least what they say, I think like 22 to 40% of the population's been infected with this worm. But if you have a good immune system, you have basically your immune defense that will go and it'll actually attack and kill this parasite. It'll kill the worms. It's pretty cool. There's a video of it. I don't know if it was the basophils, something like that was attacking this worm in a person's body, and it just obliterated it. It was pretty awesome.
Another bottle question. They have 1/2-inch bottles and 1-inch bottles as well, and 2-inch and 3-inch and 4. They just get bigger and bigger and bigger, but they're all the same shape. Okay, back.
So usually this thing will grow and live in your small intestines or in the brain. It takes years and years, and usually the signs and symptoms are so mild people don't even know they have worms. And the treatment for that is really toxic. So if you're a healthy person, they usually won't treat you. They'll just say, "Hey, you poop them out eventually. You'll be all right." But yeah, that's pretty much.
I have a M1A1. I have a. Sorry, babe. I'm getting Leathercraft questions in the mix, and I'm trying to
Well,
touch.
Q&A for the last 10 minutes. There you go.
I can do Q&A for the next few. The uh, shoulder holster. Chipper sent me blueprints for. Um, it has shoulder holster designs. So basically, with the right size leather, I can just trim it out. And if you've got the blueprints, you can. They work. Those of you out there who sew and quilt and make dresses at home, if any of you out there make dresses or clothes for your kids, like my wife does, uh, she uses these blueprints and she'll lay them out over the fabric and she'll just start cutting these designs out. And I was like, man, that's really cool. I said, I just realized that they make the same thing for leather. And, I have some blueprints downstairs. You can make shoulder holsters, all kinds of crazy stuff. I mean, it just, the list goes on and on. I have a whole bunch of blueprints. I have the wrong size leather at the moment for large stuff. I have like, Chipper sent me like this. It's crazy, man. It's like 14 ounce or something nuts. I mean, I've never seen. You got to use a machine saw to cut into it.
No
Like
joke.
you have to, and I was breaking blades. Like you couldn't cut it with a razor. There wasn't many knives that could cut it. It was just the thickest stuff. You could use that stuff for body armor if you wanted to. I'm sure it would stop a bullet.
Can I make a flippin' tactical anti yellow jacket suit from that?
I've been considering doing the video finally that everybody was asking for, the leather load bearing vest. It was like it holds magazines and stuff, but not a
chainsaws.
not you. But the leather was too thick. I was having a lot of trouble with it. I started making holsters. I was cutting stuff out, and I was breaking a lot of tools. And I stopped because I was supposed to be making some Western style belts and stuff. And so I had to go back to the drawing board and I getting my hands on some other leather, and I should have some in a few days and be able to get started on some more stuff. And that's just the problem with all this stuff going on. And you're trying to get leather for leathercraft stuff. It's pretty difficult because of due to all this crap going on. You just can't get stuff fast enough anymore. And so I've got to wait patiently and rock back and forth and hope that this stuff comes in a timely manner so I can get back to work on stuff. But yes, as far as the gun holster goes and shoulder holsters and crazy stuff, I can do all that stuff with the right leather, and because I have all the blueprints for it. I have some crazy tactical blueprints. I am just really digging those designs, and I gotta thank Chipper again for that because that's just some crazy stuff. I was going through it, and they have like hidden holsters, for old 38 revolvers and stuff you can tactical hide stuff. And I'm like, what? This is some James Bond type stuff. This is really cool. And they're blueprints. You just lay them out, trace them over the leather, and just cut them and start stitching and putting it all together. It's pretty neat. And can't wait to show you guys that stuff because it's really cool to play with. When I got to doing the heavier stuff, I was like, wow. I was like, man, she saw how disappointed I was when I come upstairs. I'm like, I can't do it. It's too thick. I can't get it to work. And I was like, but check out those patterns though, man. She's checking out the patterns like, man, that's cool. It's like
it's a blueprint.
I cut out all the patterns. I cut out the belt, I cut out the loops, all the latches and everything. I cut out all the stuff for it. Then I cut out all 3 holsters and then started trying to put everything together. And I could not get them to marry correctly because it's like that thick. And it's like trying to bend that stuff was almost impossible. But I couldn't get it to flex. Even getting it wet, I couldn't bend it. It was just crazy. But I got it all cut out. I just couldn't put it together. But the thinner stuff works. If you've got 8-ounce leather, you're good to go. You'll be fine. 10, 8-ounce, somewhere around there, 9-ounce leather, you'll be fine. You can make all kinds of stuff out of that. But when it comes to like these little, you got that thing for me? All right, thank you. Stuff like this does not require 8-ounce leather. This is 8-ounce leather. Doesn't require. You don't need it. You don't need this much. This is too thick. Doesn't need it. I've got some stuff. I've got some stuff in my inventory that's like 4-ounce and 3-ounce and stuff. That's really all you need. You don't need anything. You need something soft. Okay, just has to be soft, and you can move it around. It's nice and flexible, and you can still do the latches and stuff on it, and it'll be way cheaper to do it that way than to try and make it like this, because this is just too thick to make anything. But that's what I would recommend, is get some thinner stuff. If you're going to make stuff like this, get thinner stuff, like a wallet. Pretend you're making a wallet, and you'll have it down. That's the other thing I need blueprints for. I need to get my hands on, is all the blueprints for wallets. Mm-hmm. I've got a couple, but they're, there's only so many times you can use the same blueprint before you're like, yeah, it's time for something different, and that's when you got to get creative and start making stuff yourself. Mm-hmm. But all that stuff, I mean, I can make pretty much anything. I just you got to have the right leather tools and
what would you need for an ammo ouch
trucker wallets? Yeah, I can do those too.
For 30-30.
Well, for the ammo carrier, you need like 8-ounce or 4-ounce. I'd say 8-ounce. That depends on if you're going to do art or not. If you want to do engravings, and I don't do a lot of engravings, indenting on the channel, but if you felt like spending your life indenting and doing engravings, you want to get something thicker, because like 4-ounce, you can't get the impressions the same. You can get the impressions. I'm not going to say you won't. I'm just saying it's a lot easier to get your impressions on wet or damp 8-ounce leather or 10-ounce leather than it is to try and get impressions on 4-ounce or 3-ounce leather. You just don't get the same kind of impressions. And if somebody out there wants like crazy flowers and stuff, that kind of stuff, crazy flames, or Harley Davidson logos and stuff, those kind of things, it's really hard to get that kind of stuff going on thinner leather, because it doesn't have enough to get the bite on it. But yeah, I guess that's about it. I wanted to share that little bit with the leather stuff. I never get to really talk about it much. I just sort of start to get making stuff, and if people like what I make, then they can replicate it at home. They can kind of see what I'm doing. Some things it's all about trial and error, because a lot of times when I build something, I've built a lot of stuff, I've made a lot of videos, and I've trashed it. Like thrown it away, deleted the video, and didn't even post it, because there's been some situations where it all goes south in the process of making it, and it could be something as simple as I was engraving, doing some sort of artwork on it, and I screw it up, and it just does not turn out right, and it's not something I would really want to show anybody. So sometimes things like that I don't share. Like most of the stuff that I'm working on that doesn't turn out well, I don't share with anyone. And it's because it's embarrassing, I guess. So it's a silly thing for me.
Practice makes perfect.
It takes a lot of practice, but you'll learn. I mean, like when I'm doing that stuff and I put something together and it's completely awful, or I don't like the way it fits or the way it wears, and then I see what needs to get done to it to change it. Well, this just needs to go forward a little bit. Let's just remake the whole thing. And then I'll go get it. Did you just toot on me?
Sorry, what's the chili?
And what's the fun? Hang on, y'all. Y'all did not hear that.
Not too much chili for lunch, I'm sorry.
You could just say it's a squeaky pin. It was a squeaky pin. Did y'all hear that?
What did Charlie say? I'm just farting.
Charlie, was that you? Yeah. Charlie took the blame for it.
Anyway.
You could have blamed it on me, girl. You didn't have to take the blame for it. You'd be like,
They probably saw the look on my face and the smile. Like,
you are ridiculous.
we all fart. Who cares?
What? What you want?
Go start your nest in there. Go.
Go make your nest.
Go make your nest.
All right. What else was I saying before I was interrupted by you and the chili event?
The things to look forward to today.
There's just oh man.
I have no shame.
I have to just so y'all folks know, we're in the same bed, so she's gonna be stinking it up, and I'm sure I will be too. I'll return the favor with a few Dutch ovens, I'm sure. Nothing like a good old Dutch oven, right, baby? So here's the thing, like mate, I know I kind of called a hiccup there. I catch some of these situations where I'm putting something together and I miss one key little detail, and I'm like, what did I just do? And all that cutting and stitching and sewing and dyeing, and I'm like, oh, this is awful. Like 8 hours of this mess, and I have to throw it away. Anyways, but that's how I'm gonna end this, I guess.
We'll end it.
Thanks, babe. You all forget. Doop, doop. There we go.
It never happened.
All right.
Okay.
I'm getting off here. I guess that's it.
Yeah.
Thank you guys and gals for coming and hanging out with us. And I've got some more interesting stuff to post next week. I've got it all stacked up and ready to go. So we should have some more fun next week. And I'm sure there's some other dramatic event that I can get on and rant about next week. But we'll have a lot of fun next week, I'm sure. But tomorrow's my day off, and I've got to take a break and veg out. It's the Lord's day.
Yeah, it must be nice.
You have to work.
I know.
I got kids. You know how much drama I'm gonna have here at the house? Daddy, I'm hungry.
Drew's giving you the children of the corn stare.
You being sneaky? Come here, babe. Come here, babe. Come here. What are you doing? You broke stuff.
Oh, she broke the whole new world.
See, that's the reason why she was staring at me. She broke the cable on that.
Gotta do the wires.
All right.
Put it on the daddy workbench.
Girl. All right.
I said to Allie that she owes me her quarter.
It's okay, boo. Daddy has duct tape. All right.
Look out. Ellie owes her quarter.
She owes her a quarter? Hey, man.
Anyways.
Put you to work chopping wood.
It
says okay. All right. We're going to leave on that note. All right. Thank you guys and gals for coming and hanging out with us. God bless you guys. I really appreciate it. Good night.